More examples of the amount of savings that we've helped people with. So now you have a legal right to appeal, but why don't the majority of people appeal their taxes? Anyone, why do you think it is? It's a hassle?
They don't know how.
I'm sorry, Phil?
They don't know how.
They don't know how.
Complicated.
It's complicated. Those are all excellent answers. First one, they don't know how. Complicated. Afraid to make mistakes because there's a lot of paperwork involved, as you will see, more than you can imagine. Too expensive to hire a lawyer or an accountant. Tell them not here, Lee.
Sorry.
Other factors, time, unexpected consequences, things beyond your control. So those are just some of the reasons. So a lot of you, I'm sure, are familiar with this, but we're going to walk you through it. We're going to talk about where to start, understanding your tax bill, some refund information, all the different forms, and this part right here becomes very important, is all the different exemptions and what you're entitled to in terms of appealing your taxes. Because one thing that I found out the other day, and I was just sharing this with Phil and with John just a moment ago, do you realize that over 300,000 seniors in Cook County do not apply and renew their senior exemption? 300,000 seniors. That's a lot of folks. So to understand your property bill, some of you I know brought your property bill with you, so I'm just going to quickly walk you through this. I think most of you are aware of that your first installment is 55% of your previous year property taxes, and then the second is the balance of the remainder of your property taxes. So what the Cook County Assessor does is he takes the market value of the property, he divides it by 10, and then they come up with your assessed value. Then they multiply it by the assessed value by what they call an equalization factor to determine what they call the EAV, or equalized assessed value. They subtract that from your homeowner exemption. That's assuming that you file for it. If you don't file for it, guess what? They're not going to automatically give it to you. Then they multiply that by the tax rate to determine your property taxes, and voila, you wind up with a tax bill. So this is just an example. The assessor's fair market value is $200,000. The assessment percentage is 10%. That brings the assessed valuation to $20,000. The equalization factor, 2.8056. And then the EAV before exemption brings it to $56,112. You get your homeowner exemption of $7,000. And then the equalization assessed value after the exemption brings it to $49,112. And then you have the general city tax rate of 6.396%. And then the tax bill of $3,141.20. So that means your first installment will be due $1726.66. Second installment, $1413.54. Does that make sense to everyone? Pretty easy to follow? And then certainly feel free to ask us questions when we get to the Q&A part of it. If you have any questions this evening about any of this, be sure to ask Rudy, myself. We've got other folks here to help you. Michael, he's going to come up in a little while. So for some more of the complicated questions, we can get to that part of it. So how many forms do you think you need to fill out and sign to get an appeal and to take advantage of all the exemptions? How many do you think, sir?
About 21.
Okay. Anyone else? 21? No other guesses? 30? 31? 31? Okay. This gentleman was correct. 21 forms to do it right, plus 6 additional supporting documents for a total of 27 documents. Do you think that could be just a little bit confusing?
That's how they want it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's kind of set up there. It's kind of designed. It's almost like by default. Now, in order to start the process, step 1 start the process with the Cook County Assessor's Office on Clark Street in Chicago, or you can go online, cookcountyassessor.com. But we're going to show you a better way to do that this evening. So these are just some of the forms. I'm not going to cover each and every form because we'd be here for the next 2 or 3 hours, and I know you want to know here pretty quickly what the investment to do this is. So but these are just some of the different forms. You start with a real estate evaluation form, then you have to fill out this form, then prepare and sign that form, verification form, send it to the Burials, then you have to sign and notarize that document, and then determine whether or not you're the property owner, you're living in the house, homeowner exemption, and Phil was just telling me earlier how many people that he knows that don't even file for the homeowner exemption. Correct, Phil?
Over 55% of new home buyers.
Over 55% of new home buyers don't file for homeowner exemption, leaving a lot of money on the table. Senior freeze. You know, I know some of the seniors, some of the mature folks in this room are familiar with the senior freeze. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that in detail, but again, that's something that you need to file for. And we just did a seminar last week, and someone came up to Rudy and I and said to us that they went to the Cook County Assessor's Office, and they told them that they would appeal their taxes, that they would lose their senior freeze. That's not entirely accurate. If you appeal, it drops off and you have to reapply for it, but in no shape or form do you lose your senior freeze. You're entitled to it. So these are just some of the other forms. So if you're 65 years or older, senior citizen, and you and or your spouse, significant other, qualify for senior freeze, if you make less than $55,000 annually, and then of course if you have a tax accountant person that you work with, make sure that you've got your proper income and expenses together so you can verify that. But these are the senior freeze exemption forms. Someone asked me about disabled homeowners exemption. Yes, there is. There's also a veteran homeowner, veteran disabled exemption. And then if you live in a property for more than 1 year, you apply for homeowner exemption. And then if a senior citizen, you can actually go back 3 years or 4 years if you've never filed for it before. And some people just neglect to do that. CCAO, by the way, is Cook County Assessor's Office. There's some examples. And then I think Rudy, he was looking into this, and how many pages is it, Rudy?
There's a manual with 331 pages for instructions.
331 pages of instructions. I bet that's real riveting reading, don't you think? Just can't wait to dig into that. So these are just some of the other forms. So as I said, we're not going to walk you through all of them. And then these are the review forms. So now, let's say in your township, you missed the opportunity, that window that opens up for your appeal. Well, that doesn't mean you're done, because then you have another opportunity to fill out some other forms and do another appeal. So how many forms do you think you need to do that? The first one, you missed the first opportunity. You hit it on the head the first time. What do you think this time?
I think it's 6.
6? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, we won't keep you in suspense. All the 19 exemption forms plus 5 appeal forms. That adds up to a total of 24 forms. So 27 the first go around, the second go around, you got 24 forms. So a lot.
This is just Cook County itself.
This is just Cook County, right? And I'm glad you mentioned that because right now we're only doing Cook County. This is not for Lake County, DuPage County, Will County, McHenry, or Canyon. So it's just this is just Cook County. Correct. So then it goes to the board of review. Typically on the BOR, the board of review, usually that will take place sometime in September, October for most of the townships. If you look in the Cook County Assessor's Office right now, they don't have the dates posted. Because I just checked a client of mine the other day, and we were checking Palatine. I actually talked to the assessor in Palatine, and she told me, she said, Jerry, she said, we haven't posted the date. It's going to open up sometime in September, but we haven't come up with the date yet. And look at September, it's just a month away. So some of the forms you have to, some of them don't need to be notarized. They do appeal that, and again, it's up to 6 units. Is anything over 6 units considered commercial? The prepare the documents, sign them, send them in. So all of this is a lot of work. So after you've done all of that, then you mail the forms to the Cook County Board of Review, then you write on the envelope a complaint form. There are 38 townships in Cook County. And here's the interesting thing is that this is key, each with a different filing schedule. So you have 30-day window to appeal your property taxes. What's even more interesting about that, it's a moving month and date. It doesn't stay consistent from year to year. Because I looked at some of the townships, for example, and some in 2013 were in April. Well, then the date shifted from April to June or July. So if you think, well, I got it covered. Oh, I know it's going to be in April. No, not necessarily. It might shift by 2 or 3 months later, or it can move to an earlier date. So really, if you're not on top of it, you could totally miss that. But you do have a second opportunity to the Board of Review. So each one of the townships has a different date in terms of appeals and also for the Board of Review. These are all different websites that you can go to. Cook County Board of Review, Tax Appeal Board, etc. Those are a lot of different websites. How many of you in the room do not own a computer? Wow, that's great because we've done these seminars where sometimes 40 or 50% of the people in the room do not own a computer. In this age of technology, we all assume, well, everybody has a computer. But that's not always the case. But these are some of the different websites that you can go to. Cook County Assessors, the County Board of Review, Property Tax Board, our properties, etc., etc. But the most useful website you can go to is actually our website because it's real simple, easy to understand, and you'll see in just a moment, iqtaxappeals.com. It's very user-friendly. And you can know very quickly whether or not it makes sense for you to appeal your property. So now we come to the Q&A portion of it. I mentioned to you that I would have Michael Morbiak come up, and he's going to respond to some specific questions. If they're just general questions, but if you have a special situation, Michael's going to respond to those, and he'll answer as many questions as we have time to, and then we'll get back into the other part of it, and then we'll explain to you how the whole thing works in terms of investment. So Michael, would you like to come up? Michael is the owner of IQ Tax Appeals. And we're going to give Michael a microphone this evening. Let me turn off the bright lights so that he's not doing shadow puppets for you.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming to our presentation, and I hope you enjoy it. And I'd like to ask you all of the technical questions, and if you'd like to know how the system works, if you'd like to know anything about the property appealing, I'll be able to help you today. Is anyone who wants to start with the questions?
Don't be bashful. Now's the time to ask it.
This is in regard to the appeal, but how come we only have 5 months to pay our second installment? Isn't it 6 months and 6 months?
I'm not sure if I understand the question. How come can you repeat the question?
Did you understand my question?
Yes, but if you repeat it for me.
All right. Normally we have 6 months and 6 months, which is a year. And this time, the second installment was due within 5 months.
You know, this is a good question for assessor. It's not. We can decide how soon you can pay taxes. Yeah, that's the assessor question. I can find out tomorrow. We can call them
It's
and.
not important, it's not going to change or is there a
No, it's not going to change. No, I don't think so. However, we can find out. We can call them tomorrow and find out.
Nobody else cares if you have an extra month or not.
Better in your pocket.
Okay, technical questions. If you'd like to know how the calculations are.
Yes, sir.
The question I have is, when it goes in default, how long it takes for it to actually be official to be in default, be behind?
If you're behind on the taxes,
What's the duration?
it's usually 1 year.
20 years.
But you have a 3 years redemption period. So for 3 years you may repay your taxes and repurchase them actually. After be offered for sale, and somebody will own it. And if you like to repay, you will have to pay the interest. It's approximately 1.5% per month.
Phil?
I went to the site and I saw it said approximately $1,700 per year savings. How close to accurate is that number?
It could be around 85-90%.
And we'll walk you through some examples, so when Michael talks about that, so you can see specifically, we're going to pull up some real-life examples for you with that.
Yeah, the saving depends on the two very important factors. First factor is the state equalization factor, and the second one is the local tax rates. Okay, when we do our calculations, we do the calculation based on the factors today. Okay, in 2013 actually, because we are a year behind. So if those two factors will go, in example, down, then your saving will be higher. If those two factors will go up, then you can expect. That's why I said, usually it's either 15 to 10 to 15% variance. Depends on those factors.
Your data comes right from the county assessors?
Yes, we use that's why the accuracy is because we use assessor's data. We use exactly the same data they have. So our reports are produced using assessor information. Yeah. They are not old, they are not young, they just at the right time. Yeah. So if assessor is upload something today, in 2 minutes we're gonna have it on our site. Because the system is checking periodically, several times a day. If assessor makes any changes, then we upload this to our system. Go ahead.
My township store is coming up, and so say I appeal, and it ends, they don't do any appeals till the township ends, right? And then they start reviewing them. What's the time frame from the time that township closes till they know the result? What they're denying, give you the next new value, a couple of months?
No, it should be anything from 15 to 30 days. Once the township is closed, the assessor is actually start reviewing the appeals in the time during the window that is open. Okay, so whoever is first, assessor serve them first. Okay, but then usually after 15 days, they start disclosing the results, and it usually takes 2 to 3 days. But they will be posted on the website. So again, you don't have to go there. You can go on the website and you can see where.
So if you I know a little bit about it. If I send in one that's not Bloom's not open for another couple of months, but if we go through the process, your company holds on to the data, and then as soon as the day opens, they send it through the computer to do the appeal for Bloom, because it's not for a couple of months yet. So we're pretty much, if you do it early, you're pretty much first in line when they start to review that, right?
Yes, we're not waiting to the last minute.
So if you get in earlier, probably, is it better to get in early or wait till the end? I don't know, does it matter? Does it matter to be in first and last for each township? It really doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't matter.
But it's probably better.
Yeah, everyone has a chance to bring the documents to the home and just hold them and mail it. Because that's the main goal to do it. Yeah. We just monitor if it was submitted. Yeah. So everyone after the appeal is processed and the payment is processed has a PDF file available to print it, sign it, and mail it to the compound assessor. So that's how the system should be understood. Yeah.
If my appeal was denied, which I did that to clear in a couple of years, then how would you be able to reduce my taxes?
Well, that depends what you did, what type of basis you presented to assessor, why you want the taxes reduced, what is the reason to reduce, and is there any mathematical reasons that you think you should reduce your taxes?
So I just then like everybody else talking, because I feel like I'm way over jet. Well, the township I live in is 12%,
Mhm.
and here Chicago is what, 6%? So 12%, that's big.
Yes, but to be honest with you, assessor doesn't really go through the process of approving using the personal reasons. Like it's too much, or it's I lost my work, or my husband lost my work. They don't really go after this. They just you have to give them the reasons. Basically, what we do, we're using the method lack of uniformity, and we use proper comparables showing that there is in the neighborhood there is few homes, at least 3. That's it.
I did that.
You did this?
I did that. I think I presented, I don't know, 15, 12 homes
Mm-hmm.
in comparison. You can have it done through your township,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where you live, they'll do it for you, and they'll print out the equivalent, the footage and the comparison.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it did work.
It's it's happening. Yeah. You need to do it every year. Go ahead.
Again, with this one, it's about 12. Thornton Township, Riverdale is 28.
Oh my gosh.
In Court Heights, one of the poorest areas ever anywhere, is 39.
Yeah, I think I read about that in the
It's the
paper.
poorest place in the whole county, whole state, it's $39. So you got a little $20,000 house, you're paying a lot of money.
Yeah. The other reason why the appeals fails is also doing this in a timely manner. You have to be within the windows, or with the windows of the date of between the dates when the township is open for appealing and it's closed. On the website, you technically you should be able to do it until 5 o'clock p.m. On the last day. But from the experience, we know that they open at higher night. So even if you miss 5 o'clock, you can still do it at 6, 7 at midnight. But it's very important not to do it the next day before they will open the door, because it's usually too late. So they will not accept any more appeals, and then another chance will be board of review.
Yes, if we get this to your program, if you need a little leeway before applying, we're setting at midnight the last day, it's probably, go to your website, it's probably too late, right? I mean, that's probably give you guys some time to send it, whatever that process is done. I mean, you can't wait till last minute.
No, I wouldn't wait to the last minute. Especially that's why we designing seminars. It's usually at the beginning of the window. So once the township is open and we know it's going to happen, let's say August 5th, then we start doing seminars on August 6th and so on. We also not wait with seminars to the last minute. So any other questions? Go ahead. Thank you.
What rates do you, or where can we find the rates to know, like for the homeowners exemption and for the senior and citizen exemption, things like that? Where are those rates posted? Because I know that they're different, because on your example, you had $7,000 for the homeowners exemption that was effective, and I know that was, you haven't received that. So how do those vary, or where are the rates?
You can check the best. There is a table rates available on. You should be able to find it not on the assessor website. There is another website that they posting tax rates. When you will enter to Google, Cook County tax rates table, it will direct you. The first position it will direct you to the proper website.
Do those vary by what, for the township?
No, they vary by South Chicago, North Chicago, and suburbs. It could be between $7,000 and $12,000.
You had, on your example, you had a homeowner's exemption of $7,000 for a $200,000 home. Is that good?
Yes.
Yes. I received something from, I don't know who it was, that my property value went decreased and my property value was under $200,000. But my homeowner's exemption is only $856.
No, because that's the amount of dollars. For a calculation, you're using 7,000. You're technically lowering the assessed value by the $7,000 in order to come up with a tax bill. Okay? What they did, they recalculated to try 7%. Okay, it should also work 7% of your assessed value. Any more questions? If not, then thank you so much for asking me questions. And
Michael
I will be here.
Yeah, Michael will be here, so.
yeah, I'll stay to the end, and if there will be more questions, I can show up again. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Quick 10-minute break.
No.
Just kidding, just kidding. So let's meet some of our happy, don't these people look happy? So, they look, yeah, they're young. Well, we should be happy too, even though we're not so young, right? We should have a state of gratitude every single day. You can also find IT tax appeals online. So www.facebook.com, hashtag, exclamation mark, IT tax appeal, and you can see some other folks that we've helped online with different examples of folks that we've helped save money on property tax. So these are just some of our other examples. People, again, you see the different types of dwelling. No one necessarily is alike. So you go from a little cottage to a different one, almost like a prairie style, to a little bit larger home. And as you see the different ones down the line from 4,000 down to 4,722, those are just some other additional happy clients from 5,000 to 4,400. So it doesn't really make any difference what type of property you have, rate to save your money on your property tax. So remember the question I asked you, are you happy with the tax that you pay? And do you think you're paying too much? And I think everybody resounded with yes to both answers, right? So the question is, would you like to know if you qualify for a deal before you spend dime one? I thought so. So how do we do that? You need to know about the company. Michael Boriak is the owner of the company. He actually started by two real estate investors with a CPA and also a group of tax professionals. They have 8 years of experience in the property tax appeal business. And then they spent 2 years in developing this proprietary software to allow us to run this program to determine how we do that in the software using their own clients and how they can save them money. So with IT tax appeals, you heard me say a little bit earlier when I started that it's easy. And she asked a question about comparable properties. So we do compare 3 comparable properties to determine if the property is overassessed, and then estimate what your property tax savings should be. And we're going to show you that. And this is the amazing, it's lightning fast. It happens in less than 1 minute. Sometimes because of internet, it takes a little bit longer, but usually it happens in less than 1 minute. And then Michael mentioned it too when he was answering questions. It's by reason of the lack of uniformity. Because it's all over the map, literally. A lot of things aren't consistent throughout, because depending on which township, we heard from, 12%, and then John talking about, 40%, so it isn't all created equal. So after you fill out an application, this is what happens. After you go in the system, we fill out an application, you literally print it, you sign it, you mail it, it's done. It happens that quick. It automatically fills in the fields for you. And the whole process, to search the property, everyone takes less than a minute. But to fill out the application, the whole thing, it takes literally about 5 minutes. As opposed to you taking probably hours. Or even if you went down to the village hall, you went down to the assessor's office, I doubt they're going to get you in and out in 10 or 15 minutes. Did they? Yeah. We had a gentleman that went to the assessor's office, spent 5 hours there, $32 for parking, and he still didn't get the answers that he wanted.
I just wanted to Bridge Street Courthouse.
Did you? Good. Good. That's encouraging to hear. At least, some of the villages and townships are a little bit quicker than others. So it will generate 3 comparable properties. It will print them out. It will show you the pictures. the specs on properties. And in addition, you receive a full analysis of comparable properties. So it's not just one or two, it gives you all the detailed information. So when you submit it, there's substantial documentation behind it. So in essence, we're really doing the assessment. We're providing all the backup and the support form, so it makes it easy for them to make a determination. And then it shows them how the numbers were calculated. And then a letter is printed out that goes to the assessor's office, shows them the amount again, goes directly to Joseph Barrios, the county assessor. As I said earlier, it's only being offered, this program right now is only being offered in Cook County and only up single-family homes up to 6 units. Anything above that is commercial. But Will County, McHenry, Lake County, DuPage, etc., those will be coming in the future. I can't give you a definitive date today, but we want to do those as soon as we can. But in Cook County, I was sharing with a couple people this evening, there are 1.8 million properties, 1.8 million homes. And keep in mind, only 4% of people appeal the property taxes. But here's what makes IQ tax appeals much different than anybody else doing this. We don't guarantee the appeal will be successful, but if your appeal is denied, we do offer a 100% money-back guarantee. And that's very important to remember. And if the repeal, as Michael said, the assessor, when we send it in for the appeal, that's included. If you miss that window of opportunity for the appeal, then it goes to the second one, which is the board review. We prepare that for you. And then the third level is the property tax appeal board. So that's the final one. And then we do that one as well. So the tax appeal second session, commercial industrial property, those are available, but those you would have to talk to Michael about if you're talking about commercial or industrial property. This is only for residential. So if you wanted to do this yourself, this is how easy it is. Merrick's got the screen up there, and so if you went on cookcountytaxreduction.org, you'd see Rudy's picture on that page, and you would log in, you scroll down, and you log in, you put yes, you put the username tax, the password reduction, just as Merrick's doing right now. Can everybody see that?
Can you turn on the lights, see where
Yeah, it's pretty dim.
Yeah, that camera seems to be, dim.
We did the lights.
I get it.
Okay, better? Everybody see it now? Okay. So as I said, Merrick has guest up there, username is tax, and then the password is reduction. So then it's going to come up, and you'll see the tab there that says residential property. So you would click on that. So you click on that, and then it pulls up another field. And so you can put in your PIN number, which Merrick is doing now. And he's running an actual search right now on the property. So then click search, and then it's going to populate it. So now it's looking at it. So Merrick, who's this one for? Who are we doing this for?
Joseph Galena.
Joseph? Is Joseph in the room? Pardon me?
Who's the name?
Galena.
Yeah.
Joseph, okay, this is yours, Joseph. Okay, so, is that your house?
Yeah, that's our house.
That's your house, okay. There it is, Joseph is up there. It's the correct address and everything, right? So your tax bill, $77,796, let's call it $7,800 for the sake of conversation. What your tax bill should be, and then the savings. So if you look at the savings here,
That's what you could save us? Oh, I like you.
I'd be disappointed if you didn't. But that's how fast it works. Is that pretty incredible?
But
Yes,
This tax bill here, we have a senior freeze and a homeowner's exemption, and that's it?
No, this is green.
Senior freeze. But we're going to lose it as of this year,
you're gonna lose which?
our senior freeze,
Okay, because of income or,
because of income.
okay?
We sold something, and so we had that, the income went higher. Okay, so would you still be able to say something?
Michael?
Yeah, you know, if you know that you will lose it, this is the best time to appeal. Because appealing, it could be the cause of losing your freeze. It's either freezing or it's appealing. And then when you appeal and your income will go down, then you can reappeal for senior freeze again. Yeah. So if
I'm going to show you a graph. You can see very vividly, Michael mentioned already, why you should appeal every year rather than waiting 3 or 4. We had a client last week, he was on regular schedule of appealing, and then he waited 7 years, and they got slammed with a big increase. So it's to your advantage to really appeal every year. Take advantage of every single exemption, but to answer your question, yes, this is the estimated savings that you could realize on that property.
Thank you.
So that's how you get in. Again, you just log in as Merritt showed you. And then put in your PIN number. Even if you don't have your PIN number, we can do a search by address. He's going to run one more, and then we'll move on. And you can do this at home. So you go on cookcountytaxreduction.org, and you can do the same thing. That's why we're showing you. But we're going to show you why it's to your advantage to do it while you're here at the seminar this evening. So now it's pulling it up. He's going to click on.
Fast.
Now, was that less than a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, who's this for? Eric, who's this one for? Oscar. Is Oscar here?
Or down, over.
You just said my house.
Is that your house?
Wolford, right?
8251? That's your house, okay? So, let's go down to this important part. So your tax bill, 55, almost 5,500, should be roughly 4154, 4155. There's your savings right there. Almost $4,000. Now, just so you know, let me clarify that. That's $4,000. So per year, 13, 28, 44, right there. Yeah, 13, 24. Right. So over 3 years, $3,985.32.
That's over 3 years.
Correct. Right. Because each year, 13, 28, 44. But that's still substantial.
Every year.
Right, every year.
That's it, that's only two.
Okay, yeah. All right, so those, we just wanted you to see you firsthand how easy this program is. So now let's get to this part. So I was telling Phil and John a little bit earlier, we were talking about the success rate of IQ tax appeals. In 2012, when we first created the software in the program, the success rate was a little over 56%. In 2013, it jumped from 56, almost 57%, up to 71, almost 72%. How do you like that number?
Nice, yes.
Almost 83% in 2014. And these are some of the characteristics that we use: land assessed value, building assessed value, tax code, neighborhood. Michael was talking about that before. Private property classification, description, construction, residence type, garage, age, a few more. And so we tap into the database that every county assessor does, so it's in real time. So when it updates, IQ tax appeal software updates. So home properties that are assessed every 3 years, the savings will show you 1 to 2 years if you saw the example. 1 year saving if it was assessed 3 years ago. 2 year savings if it was assessed 2 years ago, and then 3 years of savings if it was assessed last year. So now, I mentioned already, why should you appeal your taxes every 3 years? Here's what happens. If you appeal your property taxes 3 years, so they go up, you appeal, they maybe come down a little bit, they go up, you appeal, they go down a little bit, they go up, stay stable. And so that's what can happen for people that don't file an appeal. Now, if you file an appeal every 3 years, you're right here, goes up, then it goes down, kind of stays level, goes up, goes down, kind of stays level, goes up, goes down. Now, let's talk about the greens. This is if you file every single year. So wherever you're at, it goes down, levels off, goes back up a little, then it goes back down, levels off, goes down, levels off. If I keep clicking this, you'll see kind of the trend of what happens if you file an appeal every year. So the question becomes, which of these do you want to be? What would you like to be? Would you like to be in the red? You want to be in the blue? Or do you want to be in the green? It's to your advantage to be in the green and to file every year. So this is the question that you're waiting for right now. You want the question answered. So how much does it cost? My question to you is how much are you willing to invest to save some kind of a savings? Or we showed you some of those examples, and we could run every one, which we have. The ladies at the desk have run, if you filled out the slip, everybody filled that out, they run off, and then some of you that have special situations or circumstances will deal with those a little bit separately. But this is, for example, most lawyers and tax consultants charge anywhere between $50 to $100, which is non-refundable. Once you pay that, you're out of pocket. And then they keep anywhere between 33 to 50% of your savings. And here's an example of $1,300 per year. Let's say over 3 years they saved you $3,900. They charge you $50. 33% of savings is $1,287. So that's $1,337, and it could be as much as $2,050. So now, as you're sitting here this evening, you have a couple of different options. One, you don't have to pay anything at all to file an appeal. But just so you know, we want to be clear about this, 30%, whatever you save the first year, we take 30% of that. The second year, 20%, and then the third year, 10%. And that's an example of saving $1,300 per year. But even if you did that, look at how the numbers come out. Same savings, but if you paid us that, the 30 to 10, the 30 to 20 and the 10, it still would come out less than what you would have paid the lawyer. That's where you don't have any money out of pocket whatsoever. But now, here's option two. If your savings is $800 to $1,000, your investment is $149.50. If your savings is $1,000 to $1,500, it's $199.50. If your savings is $1,500 to $2,000, it's $249.50. If your savings is $2,000 to $2,500, $299.50. And then last, if your savings is over $2,500, it's $349.50. But because you got invited, and we know that your property tax qualifies for a tax appeal this evening, you're going to be happy about this next part of it. If you complete an application this evening, your total investment is $149.95, regardless of the amount of your savings. And we can process the application here this evening. And just so we're clear about this, so if you leave the room this evening after midnight, because we've got it plugged into the system, that $149.95 goes away, and this is what you pay after midnight. So tomorrow morning at 12:01 a.m. Saturday, this would be the fee schedule. So my question is, do you think that's a fair price for the savings that you would realize.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And as Bob just said, the other thing is, what I said earlier, is that we'll appeal 3 times for that flat fee. This is another option. If you, those of you that didn't want to do any work at all, you just wanted to kind of set it aside, totally forget about it, your appeal, where we do everything automatically for you, would be $700, $699. Option 4, $799 if we did the appeals for you every single year for 4 years. And option 5, $899 for 5 years. So basically $900 for 5 years, you can do the math part of it. But that's where we automatically do everything. You don't even have to think about it. We even mail the forms for you. Go ahead, Rudy. Pardon me?
That's okay to get one of the pages.
Oh, yes. And if you do that, we also provide a free tablet that's preloaded with the IQ Tax software. So it's already ready for you and ready to go. That's if you do one of the programs here. But this is the important part about it, as I mentioned earlier. If the appeal is denied, you get 100% of your money back. You don't pay dime one. So even after 3 appeals, if we don't save you the money that we say, then we appeal it again the 2nd time, it goes to the board of review, the 3rd time, the property tax appeal board, and if that doesn't happen for you, 100% money back guaranteed. Is that fair? Yes?
Yes.
And as we said earlier, you know whether or not your appeal, you should even pursue it before you even begin the process. So it costs you nothing out of pocket to determine that. So Rudy has, are we passing those forms? This?
Yes.
Okay. So I think you have these forms.
No, we haven't passed them on yet.
You didn't pass them on. So anyway, this is what we walked you through before. This is the Cook County Tax Introduction form. It tells you exactly what to do by going on the website. If you decide not to do it here on site this evening and you go home and you get on your computer, you have to do it before midnight. Because otherwise, it changes. So we said before, you log on as guest, then you put in tax, and the password is reduction. Click in, you do your search, and it'll pull up the property, no matter what you plug in. So $149.99 this evening to fill out the application, and then we also include 2 reappeals along with that. This is our phone number here. That's Rudy's phone number, 312-804-5050. You can reach him anytime. He does respond to the call right away. And this is the other part of it. And this I'm just going to quickly cover. If you're interested in how we do this as a business, some of you may be tax accountants. Some of you, for all I know, could be lawyers. There's an opportunity for you to work with us as we are developing teams. If you're interested in this, then talk to us after the seminar is over, and we're glad to walk you through it. So we thank you for attending the seminar this evening. Virginia and Rick is up there, and Bob is ready. If you're ready to fill an application, or if you have some additional questions, Michael is still here. Please ask us any questions that you would like. But we want to be sure that we get you the answers that you're looking for. Yes, sir.
Si hablan español, pueden venir aquí a esta estación. ¿Listo?
Thank you, Jerry. Great job.
project postponed.